today's video, we're going to show you how to learn anything faster. For example, doing a backflip.
Doing a backflip seems scary, and there's a lot of technical parts along the way. But the cool part is, though it's hard, though it's scary, it's doable. And the nice thing, everything in life is doable. And you can learn it if you apply the same framework you use to learn how to do a backflip. We're gonna talk about how you can use these principles to learn literally anything you want, no matter how difficult it sounds. Managing fear. The number one thing to realize about skills that seem scary is that the biggest thing people have stopping them from doing them is an irrational fear. The thing is, you're human. Your brain is the most complex organism in the entire universe, and it's really good at learning. Even when things seem impossible, they're not. A very good example for me is learning how to code. I'm severely dyslexic, I misspell everything, and yet I became a very good computer scientist, and it's because I brute forced my way through it. My freshman year of college, I did not want to study computer science because I was afraid that it would take too much time, too much effort. But eventually I realized that it was such a valuable thing to do that I was willing to do it, even though I was scared that I would not be able to do it. I took classes where I was the worst, literally the worst person in the class. And I remember there was a period of several months where I had a notebook, and every morning and every evening I would write 3 lines. I'm good at computer science. I'm good at computer science. I'm good at computer science. Many kids drop out of the course that I was in, and I did not. And the main reason I did not was because I kept writing this to myself, and I fed myself positive self-thought. Fear has to do a lot with the belief that you will never learn and how much time it'll take. So it's never the case that you can never learn. It's just how long will it take to learn. So as long as you accept that you're not going to stop until you learn, there's nothing to be afraid of. Number 2, the 20-80 principle, aka the Pareto efficiency principle, found by Vilfredo Pareto in 1896. Vilfredo found that he had a garden of peas, and 20% of the peas yielded 80% of the pea pods. And the more places in life you look, the more you realize that this 80-20 principle is real. 20% of the input accounts for 80% of the value output. So let's say you want to learn how to cook. You don't need to learn how to do everything. What you want to find is what's called a minimum effective load. The minimum amount of work that you can do that will yield 80% of the results. So for example, for me, I'm not a very good cook, but I seem like a good cook because I can make really good omelets, I can make really good pancakes, and I can make really good chicken breast. And those are really the only 3 dishes I know how to make. Another good example is with fitness. You'll realize you don't need to go and learn all the most complicated exercises. Just learn how to bench press really well and you're fine. Next is finding an expert in the field that you're trying to learn. So here's the thing, if you're trying to learn something fast, one of the best things that you can do is read as much as you can. But no matter how much you read, having someone teach you face to face is really, really impactful. If you can't have that, see if you can learn online. So when I was trying to learn how to code, it was very difficult for me to learn by myself. So what I did is I found an online course by this guy, Rob Percival, the complete iOS developer course. And it was 24 hours of video, and you built 19 projects, mini versions of Instagram and Snapchat and Uber and Google Maps. And I just would watch what he did, what he coded, and then I'd do it on my computer. I would watch him and I would do it on my computer. And I couldn't make bugs because I could see step by step what he was clicking, what he was writing. And so I built these apps really quickly compared to if I tried to do them by myself. And then I ended up with a folder on my computer with 19 MVP versions of the most used apps. So when I wanted to make new apps for myself, I would take the photo feature from Snapchat, I would take the library feature from Instagram, and I would take the map feature from Uber, and I put them together, and boom, I have a new app. And so I learned really fast because I looked at what an expert did. And lastly is tools and systems. The thing that I like to do is I write out my goals very explicitly in a Google Sheet. I break them down into the micro steps that I'm going to take. I tie them to dates by which I'm going to complete those things, even for my hobbies, not just for my business. And then I endeavor to make sure that I hit those deadlines. And if the deadline is coming up and I'm not there yet, I will reach out to an expert and have them try to coach me. The next tool I use more than anything else is Speechify. Speechify is an amazing text-to-speech tool that I built for Mac, desktop, iOS, Android. It lets you scan a physical book and it'll read it to you and it'll do it really fast. And so that means that you can work out, you can walk around, and you can listen. I use Speechify to do all my listening to the internet, whether it's Wikipedia or New York Times or a dense PDF or philosophy. I just listen with Speechify so much. And my main way of learning is I listen to about 100 books per year. I've done that for the last 15 years. And the more books you listen to, the more the data starts to overlap and you start to get a very clear model of the universe by which you can make decisions really well. So not only does it make it easier to learn, for example, with fitness, I just read all the PDFs by PhDs about how to build muscle, and then I could see what consistently was the same and made sense and what was fringe and a little bit less credible. And it also just makes you much better at making decisions, so you end up being more strategic. So there's higher probability of you succeeding in any endeavor that you take because you make better decisions. So if you want to learn anything fast, the first thing you need to do is tell yourself you can do it, manage your fear. The second thing is pick the 3-4 things that are most important to learn and just really focus on getting those things down. The third thing is find an expert to guide you in your journey. Just cold outreach to people or find someone who's good and ask them for help. Asking for help is a very attractive thing to do. And lastly, Number 4, use tools and systems to keep you accountable and on track and let you intake information faster. My favorite tool to use is Speechify. You can download it on the iOS store, Android store, or Google Chrome. And with that, happy listening.